Why do we yawn? And more mysteriously, why is yawning contagious? You've probably had this experience. Someone across the room yawns, and suddenly you feel your own jaw stretch open, almost against your will. Even just hearing the word yawn right now might be nudging you closer to doing it. This everyday reflex hides one of the most fascinating puzzles in neuroscience. For centuries, people thought yawning was just about oxygen. The idea was simple. When you're tired or bored, your brain doesn't get enough oxygen, so you yawn to draw in more air. It sounds intuitive, but here's the twist. Experiments have shown this explanation doesn't hold up. People yawn even when oxygen levels are normal. And breathing deeper in other ways doesn't stop yawns. So if it's not about oxygen, what's really going on? Let's break it down. First, let's think about what yawning actually looks like. It's a deep, slow inhalation, with your mouth stretched wide, followed by a shorter exhalation. It often comes with watery eyes and sometimes even a tiny stretch of the upper body. It seems simple, but hidden inside is a clue. Some scientists believe yawning is the brain's version of a cooling system. Just like a computer fan turns on when the processor gets hot, yawning might help regulate brain temperature. When you take in that deep breath of cooler air and stretch your jaw, blood flow changes, circulation improves, and heat is dissipated. There's even research showing that people yawn more when ambient temperatures rise to the point where the brain risks overheating. In a way, yawning could be your built-in air conditioner, keeping your thinking engine from overheating. But cooling the brain is only one piece of the puzzle, because it still doesn't explain the contagious part. Why does watching someone else yawn make you yawn too? To answer that, we have to step into the fascinating world of mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are brain cells that fire not only when you perform an action, but also when you watch someone else do it. They're like the empathy circuits of the brain. If you see someone smile, your mirror neurons activate as if you were smiling yourself. If you see someone in pain, the same neurons respond, letting you feel a little of their discomfort. Yawning seems to be wired into this same system. When you see another person yawn, your brain's mirror neurons trigger the urge to copy them, almost as if your nervous system is syncing up. This contagious effect isn't just about reflex. It may actually be a social glue. Think about it. Yawning tends to spread most strongly among people who know each other well, friends, family, close coworkers. Studies show that you're far more likely to catch a yawn from someone you care about than from a stranger. That suggests yawning could have evolved as a form of nonverbal communication, signaling tiredness, boredom, or readiness to rest, and synchronizing group behavior. Imagine a tribe thousands of years ago preparing to sleep at night. One person yawns and it triggers a ripple through the group, subtly aligning their states of alertness. That's powerful for survival. But wait, there's more. Contagious yawning isn't just limited to humans. Chimpanzees do it, bonobos do it. Even dogs can catch yawns from humans, especially from their owners. This cross-species effect hints at a deep evolutionary root tied to empathy and social bonding. And there's a fascinating experiment that adds another layer. Researchers found that people on the autism spectrum, who often experience differences in social communication, are less likely to yawn contagiously. That doesn't mean they don't feel empathy, but it does suggest that the mirror neuron mechanism for yawning is linked closely to how brains process social cues. So in a way, every contagious yawn is your brain's mirror system in action, syncing you with the people around you. Now let's zoom out. If yawning helps cool the brain and synchronize social behavior, then it's not a meaningless reflex. It's a tool that evolution gave us to regulate both our own physiology and our connections to others. But of course, yawning still has an aura of mystery. For example, not everyone yawns in response to seeing it. Some people are more yawn-sensitive than others. Age matters too. Children under about 4 years old almost never experience contagious yawning, suggesting it develops only once certain social or neural circuits mature. There's also timing. You're most likely to yawn when you're tired, bored, or experiencing transitions in alertness, like waking up or preparing to sleep. It's as if yawning is a bridge between different states of consciousness. So think about this the next time someone in a meeting yawns and sets off a chain reaction. What you're witnessing isn't laziness. It's a perfect storm of biology, physics, and psychology, all rolled into one reflex. Your brain might be cooling itself down. Your social circuits might be syncing up with others. Your evolutionary history might be whispering through your nervous system. And all of it is hidden in that simple, universal motion of opening your mouth wide, inhaling deeply, and letting out a sigh. We often dismiss yawning as boring, but it's actually a window into some of the deepest mysteries of how our brains work. Think about it. A single reflex can connect temperature regulation, empathy, and social bonding. That's not boring. That's astonishing. But here's where it gets even more interesting. If yawning is partly about cooling the brain and partly about social synchrony, then it's not just a quirk of biology. It's a window into how evolution shapes behaviors that are both personal and collective. Think about other reflexes that spread in groups. Laughter is one, smiles are another. When one person starts laughing, it can quickly cascade through a crowd. Why? Because our brains are tuned to pick up on signals that unify the group. Yawning sits in this same family, but with a twist. It's one of the very few reflexes that is both involuntary and contagious. It bridges physiology and psychology in a single act. Imagine your brain as a team of orchestra players. They need to stay in sync for the music to sound right. A yawn is like a tuning fork being struck. It resonates through the group, helping everyone align to the same tempo, whether that tempo is winding down for sleep, fighting off boredom, or resetting alertness. That's why contagious yawning tends to happen more in situations of shared context, like during long meetings, classrooms, or late-night hangouts. It's not coincidence, it's synchronization at work. Now, let's return to the analogy of a computer cooling fan. Your brain, like a processor, builds up heat as it works. Yawning takes in cooler air, stretches muscles, pumps fluids, and momentarily resets your alertness. But if that's the personal side of yawning, the contagious side is like a network update. When one computer in the group yawns, it's as if the signal ripples across the network, reminding others to check in, recalibrate, and align. That's where the Eureka moment arrives. Yawning is not just a reflex, it's a multi-layered survival mechanism. On the surface, it cools your brain. On the social level, it bonds you with others. And on the evolutionary scale, it helps groups move together as a unit. Once you see it this way, that annoying chain reaction of yawns in a lecture hall suddenly becomes beautiful. It's evidence of invisible threads connecting brains together, reminding us that we are social creatures wired to mirror each other. But contagious yawning has another secret. It reveals just how deeply empathy runs in our nervous system. Remember how dogs can catch yawns from their owners? That suggests yawning contagion isn't just about survival, it's about trust and connection. If your pet can sync with you at such a subtle level, it shows the bond is more than emotional. It's biological. And here's a final twist to consider. Contagious yawning is so automatic that even thinking about it or hearing about it can trigger it. Which means that right now, as we've been talking about it, you may have already yawned once or twice. That is the science in action. You're not just learning about yawns, you're living the experiment. So what do we take away from this? The next time you catch yourself yawning in response to someone else, remember that you're witnessing your brain's mirror system at work, reinforcing the hidden ties between you and those around you. You're cooling your own neural engine while also syncing up with the group. A single motion, born millions of years ago, now plays out every day in classrooms, offices, and family gatherings, quietly knitting us together. That's the magic of science. It takes a small, everyday mystery and reveals a story about who we are as humans and how we connect to each other. Yawning, once seen as boring, suddenly transforms into one of the most fascinating reflexes in biology. And that is the joy of asking simple questions. Because behind every why is a hidden universe of answers. If you found yourself yawning during this video, don't worry, you weren't bored. Your brain was syncing, cooling, and connecting in ways you probably never noticed before. And if that gave you the same aha moment it gave me, then this journey was worth it. Stay curious because the world is full of invisible wonders hiding in plain sight. And if you enjoyed unlocking this mystery with us, give this video a like, share it with a friend who always makes you yawn, and subscribe to How It Actually Works. Here, every question is a key that opens up new ways of seeing reality, and together we'll keep exploring how the universe really works.